Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Rio Sake and welcome to the Sake house. Today we are building the first house in preparation of a let's play that I'm going to do, dealing with people in the neighborhood. That's all I got right now. I'm not sure what kind of storyline I'm going for. It's nothing that I really want to set in stone, so it's okay. Um, but yeah, welcome on this wonderful, lovely Monday morning. I've kind of rebranded myself already. Probably wasn't necessary, but I needed something more dynamic. I felt like I was a little bit boring, so I had to fix it. Today let's see. I worked on I found this amazing Italian house where it looked like all the living parts are surrounding this pool, and I just thought I have to build this, and so that's what I did today, and it's actually pretty amazing. I think I did a pretty okay job on it. I think I would maybe try and do a little bit better next time, but I never know how to build a house that's a decent size for one person. But one day I'll get it down. Um, let's see. There's a lot of options, a lot of things not working for me, a lot of annoyances, but then I decided, hey, I can always just use pillars. Yay for pillars. Um, but yeah, welcome today. I'm excited to have everyone here. All 10 or maybe of y'all. One of these days I'll have more people wanting to watch my stuff, and I just want to provide just good entertainment. I also would like to provide a decent amount of um, enunciation. That too is a thing, but that may not happen. But glad you're all here nonetheless, here to listen to me talk. But yeah, I just thought it'd be a really cool kind of house where there's a pool that at any point the person who lives here, who's this playboy Italian, like Greek guy, he's really attractive and everything, I suppose, but he would come over here and hang out, and he would just walk out of his house. He's probably a writer at home. He has a, I think I was gonna, yeah, he has a, does he have an office? No, he's like a yoga guru or something like that, because he has just a yoga studio with a little massage place. And there I went through some stuff looking through this stuff. At one point I was like, we need sliding doors, and no, we need clear doors, because all these houses are a lot of windows too, and that'd be cool. And then I finally figured out that I had some really cool doors that I downloaded, and I was like, well, I need to get this going. And I really wanted tall windows, but at the same time it wasn't that important. um but I also had no idea what I was going to be doing most of the time. That's generally how I build. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. um, but that's what's happening right now, and that's really cool actually. I struggled with the roof. I'm not sure why it wouldn't go over, even when I put columns down and stuff like that. So at one point I was just like, fine then, I'll put a ceiling over the pool and stuff, and just make that part of it, and it worked then. Not 100% sure about the. I assume it's because there wasn't enough support, but I thought, again, pillars would do the job, but I guess not really. So I finally had to figure it out, fix it up, and I finally got it right. And I just. See, I struggled. I struggled for a good bit of time, and then I was like, fine, I'll do this, and then let's see if it works. And then, what does it do? Works. So I stuck with that, went with that. And this house, I think I found it on Trendier, Trendire, no E at the end. And I was just like, that's really cool. I really like this house. That's the kind of house I wouldn't mind living in. But this playthrough, this let's play is going to be pretty fun, I think. I really wanted to have a unique playthrough. A lot of people want to, have sims that have a lot of babies and whatnot. And there will be baby having in there, but probably not with the main sim. At the very most, he'll probably adopt. Um, I think. But let's see. The main character will be living in an apartment. See, I say this, but then I realized I could put a whole neighborhood on one of the larger plots, and I really was thinking that I could do that, and that would be kind of fun. I'm not sure how I would build it, but of course locking doors is always a plus too. So I figure either we'll stick with the little neighborhood that I started building on, and this whole video will be moot point other than just being a cool video that I have, or um, I will have a neighborhood building video, where 8 people will be living on the land. Maybe only 6, because I don't like having to deal with that many people. 6 people, main character type person who's just trying to be successful in life, and in the process probably finds a bit of love and stuff like that, or I don't know. Maybe he'll be a policeman having to go to work on things, and maybe I could set up a cool little crime for him to solve or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure how this will go, but these are my thoughts right now. Having characters is just a plus too, but this is also where I fall flat in general story writing. I struggle with the plot because I don't know where I want to go with everything. So that's a thing, but I'm glad everyone's here today. I hope everyone's safe, having a good day. Hope everyone who's still in school is finishing out the semester decently. Things like that. Let's see. Actually have to split this up into 2 days of building because once again I dozed off mid-build. And I was just like, I'm so sleepy. But I woke up the next day and got back to it. I was determined to make this a unique bathroom and to make sure that everyone could have a window. Like, this dude is not even upset about having to be naked in front of people. He's just that cool. But I also feel that people in other countries are okay with nudity, and because they should be, but amazingly enough, and not surprisingly, I'm not. So I'm not okay with me being nude. I'm okay with other people. I mean, the only problem I have is just I might want to stare, only because just like it's a scientific thing. That's what it is. I'm a very scientific person at times. And so the nude body, I'm just like, how do they fit together? Like, I know how I fit together, but how do they fit together? And so I would be thinking about that, and that would be rude, so I can't. So that's a thing. But yeah, so since it's Monday morning, I feel like I could tell you about my last week or my weekend, but not much happened. I will say that I got to go out to dinner with my friends. We were originally going to meet one of my friend's boyfriends since he lives out of town and was coming in. Then his car broke down, and then he couldn't come in. And my friend was really super sad about that. And she was super, like, real salty. She was salty AF. Like, holy cow. Anytime we mentioned anything, she'd be like, he can't come in because he a hussy. And I'm like, darn right. So do you want some of this queso? Because we went to Fuzzy's Tacos, and that's delicious. Fuzzy's Tacos, and we also went to a bakery in town that is so delicious and amazing. It almost hurts how good it is, and you shouldn't eat there very often. I got a ding dong cake, and that was amazing. So if you know what a ding dong is, it's a little cupcake that in the middle there's cream, and then on the top there are little swirlies on top, and it's amazing. Well, this bakery said, we're going to take it to the next level, made it a layered cake with buttercream in between, but then they put a big old dollop of caramel in the middle, and ooh, I was not unhappy about it. Holy cow. I ate that even after I was so full, because at that point in my day, I had barbecue, because I'm from Texas and that's what we do on the weekends, especially if we have people coming over. Had a I don't know if you know what boudin is, but I do, and it may be my absolute favorite food. Yeah, like chocolate is there, sweets are there, but boudin, that is a totally different ball game. I ate everything. Everyone else at that point in my dinner thing had because I had eaten at home with my family, and so we had barbecue. I had Um, Boudin. I had a Boudin link and like a sausage link, and by sausage link I mean one of those. I'm in the backyard grilling up some stuff, so I need to put some sausage on there, but I have to boil it in Dr. Pepper first to soften it up so it becomes super duper tender. Um, that kind of sausage, the kind of sausage that you put in some red beans and rice and make it even more delicious, where you throw it in some gumbo and you just melt because it's delicious and amazing. Makes me do wiggly fingers over my lips, which is how I do, which is how I denote something as being nutritious. Nutritious. None of this is truly nutritious, but it certainly is amazingly delicious. Um, or oishi in Japanese. I'm learning it slowly. Nonetheless, um, I had boudin that's been grilled, though I wish my dad had wrapped it in foil. I wish I had known when he started to cook, because I would have helped him wrap all the boudin in foil. It was amazing nonetheless. But with foil, it makes it crispy on the outside, so you can just bite it off instead of having to scrape out all the rice and pork goodness on the inside. Anyway, I had those two links and stuff, and then about 8 o'clock, I went to Fuzzy's Tacos, and I had myself two fried fish tacos, which is amazing with no nasty cilantro. Genetically, I'm predisposed to hate cilantro because it tastes nasty. Most people say it tastes like soap. I'd say it tastes like grandma's underboob sweat. I've never tasted it, but I assume that's what it is. That's what it tastes like. But let's see. Then we went to the bakery, had the delicious cake, and at which point we waddled out because we were full, and we left and went home. Then I recorded half of this video, and then in the morning I woke up, recorded the other half of the video. Though I believe the next morning I had a what is it called, a phone interview with a company, because I need to work and I don't currently have a job. Though I'm okay without working right now, I need the time, mental health and everything. But I have, let's see, I had a phone interview which I was super duper wound up about and happy about, but as soon as it was over, it's like I just crashed in terms of emotions and energy. I crashed and ended up taking a 3-hour nap, which is not good for my sleep schedule. But it's okay. I needed to sleep, and at least I didn't sleep with weird nightmares happening. I will say that everything's so much better when I have my secondary fan going. Like, I have my overhead fan because it's hot forever in my room. It's where the sun has most contact all over. But let's see, I have a secondary fan. This is the second time I sneezed. The first time I cut it out, but this time I left it in because I'm not redoing this voiceover. Anyway, with my secondary fan going, I don't have as much nothing sound, and so it kind of keep the drone of the fan constantly turning and whatnot keeps me from having nightmares, because for the past 2 weeks I've had the worst nightmares, and I'm happy to not have that constantly. Let's see, what else can I talk about? I have no idea what I'm supposed to talk about, and I still got a little less than half the time left to go, so I'm gonna give myself a good luck pat on the back, like, you can do it. Let's talk about what I did this past semester, because my semester's over. I'm in the process of starting to get my master's in psychology, among all the other things I want to do in my life, and so it just seems like a whole bunch of school, but it's okay. I went to school and I took only one class. My old job I should say, actually paid for it because I was one of their perks, I suppose. It's the only decent perk, honestly. I mean, there was benefits and all, but it wasn't near as favorable, in my opinion, to what I needed. But one class a semester is actually pretty good. I took the psychology of personality. Uh, I should say that first of all, I don't have a bachelor's degree in psychology, so I had to take leveling courses, and I still have 3 more leveling courses to take. One being research methods, another it will be abnormal psychology, and the other I think is going to be behavioral. But I don't necessarily want to continue my leveling courses at the school I'm currently at. I've been to most of my classes there, and I can pass them, but I don't think I'm getting the best education I could in psychology. So I'm trying to reach for something that might be a little bit more difficult or whatnot. I have the money to pay for it. Nonetheless, psychology. I enjoyed my psychology of personality class. It was there was no homework, and I struggle with classes that have no homework because I always feel like my homework can save me if I do terrible on my test. But I did surprisingly well on my test. The rule was that there are 4 tests in the class. The first 3 cover all 3 units that we would cover in the course, and that's a lot of information under each unit. Just letting you know, that was a lot of information. And then the 4th test is your comprehensive final, which I've never taken one of those. So I was terrified to hear that was a thing. So, luckily we got some things, like an idea of what we needed to study before the test. Like I studied everything, even things that weren't even discussed in class. But then, so then the other rule about the whole test and no homework thing, all those grades are equal, but your lowest grade within the first 3 tests will get dropped, and then you just average your 3 grades together and you'll get whatever grade you get. And so I took the first test, I made a 93. I was like, yes. And that's with a 3 point extra credit for staying after class or something, for showing up, because there was a day where barely anyone showed up for course, and I showed up and I didn't miss a single class, which I thought was pretty amazing because I had some pretty crappy days. Like the day I was fired from my last position, I had class, and I felt just like garbage the entire time. So I went to class then, but I took a test. I think I actually had a test that day, to be exact, and that's why I had to go. But I had the test. I made a 93 on that test. That's with that extra credit. So that means I missed 5 questions, because there are 50 questions on the test. I missed 5 questions plus 3 points, so that brought me up to a 93. I was like, yes. Second test, a little bit harder. Information not easily remembered. It was a lot of little bits of information, and that's even harder to remember. But I studied just as hard, and I actually changed my method of doing it. I have beautiful notes, according to people. That they thought it was the textbook. I was like, no textbook is this small, also cheap. This book was $12. Textbooks are $135 for this kind of size. Nonetheless, I had no one to study with for this test, and surprisingly enough, I did my worst on this test. I made a 91, and I was kind of upset about it. It was pretty upsetting, because I may have been a little bit surprised I didn't get a B on the test. And okay, so if we go back to the first time I was in college, because this is now my 4th time in college. The first time, when I got my bachelor's degree in music, I was not the best of students. I didn't know how to study. Even in high school, I didn't know how to study. If I had Tumblr in high school, I would have been a much better student. But that wasn't a thing that happened. And because I was in high school from 1996 to 2000. So, but I learned to study off of Tumblr, and it's one of the best things I ever did. Learning how to do different types of note taking, just seeing how people studied for their psychology courses, that alone helped me a bajillion times. Also, the fact that I really like bullet journals, and I really like nice looking notes and organized notes. I was very particular. And I also started a thing where I read the textbook before class and took notes on that before even going to class. Then I knew everything that was going to be said in class for the most part, even if the teacher said it a little bit different. So I managed to learn everything that way, and And on that second test, I think the only thing that helped me was the fact that had some really good guesses, and I got a 91 on that second test. On the first test got a 93, second test got a 91. The third test, however, I had a whole group of friends. Like 3 weeks before class ends, we I was talking with the teachers somehow in class, saying I have a lot of things I could be doing with my life now that I don't have this job, but I am still having to look for a job because I got to maintain life. Well, after class, one of the girls who sits in the back of the classroom, I had noticed her several times, like the whole little group back there. I was like, I wonder if they're cool, and I was pretty sure they were, but I didn't know them. Well, she came up to me and was like, "Hey, I know this place that's hiring," and I'm like, "Oh, geez, thanks." And we got to chit chatting, and then we chatted, and then one of the other people who was in class came out of class and was like, "What do you say there was a job or something?" And so we started chit chatting, and then we managed to stay there literally 4 hours, almost till midnight. Class got out at roughly 7:50, 7 something. Normally the class is supposed to end at 8:55, but we ended up chatting there till almost midnight, and we got to be like instant best friends. And my legs were tired standing there for 4 hours. We didn't sit down, we were just standing outside. We saw our teacher go upstairs, go get her stuff, go to leave to back to Houston, and then she came back up into the building because she left something, and then she left again with her flower because she missed it. And and then the security guard came through. He was like, "How are y'all doing? Doing good. Is y'all gonna just be in here? Where I'm locking the door." Awesome. We'll leave and we'll make sure it's closed. And he left. And so we ended up just staying there and chit chatting. And one of the girls has a twin, and she's awesome. And like these new friends I befriended 3 weeks before class. Well, this was a 16-week class and only 3 weeks left in school, and we somehow managed to screw it up and not meet until then. Or maybe that's what was needed. Nonetheless, we got together and we studied for that test, and it's always a whole bunch of fun, and we learned about each other. And then, so on that last test, I was pretty confident, but I have a problem where I don't read questions completely or correctly. And so I just make assumptions. But some of the questions, they're the worst type of question, where they're like, um, is it A? Is it B? Is it A or B? Or is it neither? And then you're just like, what the crap? How do I answer this question? I have no idea. And those are the ones that generally fail, because sometimes I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's both A and B, but then B sounds a little bit dicey and I'm not sure. And so I end up answering wrong. So on that test, I made a 94, and I was like, yes, yes. Unfortunately, the final couldn't be dropped, but we studied for that too. I made up a whole study guide, and I kind of feel proud about it. Even though I don't feel like it was as detailed as it could have been, but I guess it was detailed enough because I got a 99 on my last test. And like right as I turned in I turned in my test paper, I was like, let me change this question. Let me change the answer. Actually, usually I try not to go back and doubt myself and everything, but I had to stop. I had to check it again because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's this. And so I changed my answer right as I got up there and got it right. And so I got a 99 on my test. So if you drop that 91, that puts me at about a 95, 96, 95.4, something like that. I calculated it out at the time. And I got an A in my class, and I felt very proud of myself because I was never a good student. There was no real focus, but I forced myself to focus. I was never an A student, but I was an A student in that sense. In that class, I got an A. Also, in my previous degree, my multimedia design degree, that one too, digital media and design, that's what it's called. I got an A in most classes, and except for the one that I forgot I was in, and that all the homework was due on specific dates and not just end of the semester. Not that that was an issue. I just literally forgot I was in that class one week because I had moved to Michigan, and we were living in a hotel, and it was just a crap week. So, but I did well in that program too. I had a 3.93 when I left that one. A lot, and even the computer science degree wasn't too bad, but this the my first degree, I wish I could go back and retake some of those classes just to make that those grades a little bit better, but I don't think I could do music theory the way I was back then because I couldn't do it back then that way. Nonetheless,